Greetings to one and all. I love to stand by the sea, sense the water's depth, feel the crashing waves or rippling tides, depending on where and when, depending on where I am, depending on when I am, whether it's crashing waves or rippling tides. The immersiveness of the ocean waters can sometimes be overwhelming. How deep, how far do they go? What's in them waters, and so on. And waters are often connected with emotions, and we need to cleanse our emotions. When I stood with someone by the sea the other day, they commented on how their negativity was being washed away. Obviously, this is all subjective, but it got me thinking. If one washes the negativity away, where does it go, and what replaces it? Which brings me back to transformation. Surely we should be transforming our negativity rather than hoping it will just go away. Maybe the washing away is the same, cleaning up the negativity with a soap bar of positivity. If we was carrying a lot of negativity or baggage and washing it away, as in a cleaning ritual, we must make sure that we are replacing it with something more positive. All our negative thoughts and feelings, that dark and heaviness that we carry that comes with negative thoughts. We want to transform it into light as in brightness, and light in weight. So two meanings to the word light there. The ocean spray is refreshing, and that is what we are trying to do, refresh ourselves. No more stagnant thoughts and feelings, but instead seeing things in a fresh way with clear eyes. The sea does have a mysterious air about it. What lies under the waves? What swims in its depths? And of course we are mostly liquid ourselves. Our body is full of blood and other various liquids flowing around it. That's our physical body, of course. So what lies in our waters? Does a monstrous leviathan lie in our depths, or are we clear blue green waters where we can see the lightly coloured fish swimming back and forth? Are our inner waters crashing about like a tsunami, or are we calm waters that any boat can easily sail on? And of course seawater is salty, and salt is a very important alchemical element. Salt preserves, it adds flavours. Christ talks about it on the Sermon on the Mount, about how we need to use the waters to cleanse ourselves. He talks about preserving, well, he doesn't talk about, but the theologians talk about how what Christ is saying here, that we need to preserve our moral goodness, and salt preserves things. And the other meaning to salt is that it enhances a flavour. So we also need to enhance one's relationship to the divine, perhaps help other people find their way to the divine. And it's in Matthew chapter 5 where Christ says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men." We don't want to be trampled by men. We want to be full of saltiness so that we are going forth in full preservation and full of flavour. And of course salt was used in the olden days because of, preserving the food, because they didn't have fridges back in them days. It stopped the food being spoiled, and we don't want to be spoiled in our inner thinking, feeling and believing and willing. And of course this is also a link to light. I talked about light earlier, and light is a clear vision. It is an illumination, and Christ talks about salt and light together. When we are connected rightly, we shine. We have an illumination about us. And of course Masayo Emoto talked about the effect of words on water. I highly recommend his work. And that includes words that we say to ourselves. If we think and say negative things regarding ourselves, and others, it will affect the water in us and in them, making it into a more corrupted form that will not work properly. And he did tests on all this. He did tests of having glasses of water, and he had to have 2 glasses of water. And if he wrote war on one and love on the other, then put pieces of water under the microscope, pieces of water, drops of water under the microscope, and looked into the crystallization, the words with war on it would all corrupt, where the words with love on were turned into beautiful crystalline molecules, which is what we should be doing to ourselves. When we speak and think in a positive, kindly way, the water in us creates beautiful geometric patterns. And I've been having to remind people of this. And when I'm recording this weekend before was a full moon with a lunar eclipse, which seemed to have people saying very harsh words towards me and others, or rather trying rather slyly to tread on corns and to start an argument. And I found this rather amusing in some respects, but in others it was quite concerning that why were these people who regard themselves as being on a spiritual path acting this way? Maybe this past weekend they just forgot themselves, or maybe it was the effects of this moon, which was their excuse, of course, when I pulled them up on it. Again, the moon has an effect on our oceans and the waters within our bodies. But we cannot be blaming the moon for our unpleasant manifestations. We just have to take a deep dive into our own inner waters. So I want to thank you for listening to this little video, and I hope you enjoyed looking at the sea in this video. And once again, I thank those that bought my books. And until next time, actually no, I was going to do a Matthew quote. Just slipped out of another Matthew quote from chapter 5. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So everybody, become shining lights, so that we can be beacons to those that are needing help. Light is an illumination. Many people are finding it very hard to find illumination in these dark times that we're living in. So, yeah, be a beacon of light to one and all. Thank you for listening, and until next time, peace and out.